lawmakers in South Carolina have introduced a bill that would require all grade school students to have 3 consecutive weeks of NRA-approved Second Amendment lessons. All right, so let me give you the details on this bill. According to Think Progress, the bill requires all South Carolina public schools to provide instruction in the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution for at least 3 consecutive weeks during one grading period in each academic year. So each academic year, you're having 3 consecutive weeks on the Second Amendment, right? Which, by the way, learning about the Constitution is important, but just to put this all in context, Think Progress accumulated a bunch of different syllabi from different teachers in history classes, and they found that on average, when it comes to learning about World War II or learning about the Great Depression, they'll usually spend about a week and a half to 2 weeks on those lessons. So think about that compared to 3 consecutive weeks on NRA-approved gun propaganda.
Okay, so a couple of things here. One, I like how they're just picking out one amendment, right? So, for example, if you picked out the 8th Amendment, said, let's spend 3 weeks every year talking about how there should be no cruel and unusual punishment towards prisoners. My guess is that they would not be in favor of that. I mean, the 8th Amendment is an amendment just like the Second Amendment is. It's no less valuable, right? But we don't want to focus about it. How about the 4th Amendment, where we talk about unreasonable searches and seizures, and you have the right to be protected from them by the government? That's a little uncomfortable because the government tends to do that from time to time. So we don't want to spend 3 weeks talking about that. Hey, we can learn some real history and the Constitution when we talk about the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments that frees the slaves and gives everybody in the country due process. Would you like to talk about that? No. I'm sorry. It's not the slave trade. According to some right-wingers, it's now the triangle trade, right? That's what they're calling it now. You want to talk about political correctness? You want to talk about political correctness? The triangle trade? They were trading triangles?
Oh my God, it's amazing.
All right. Anyway, now the second part of it is, when Obama went to a classroom like about 5-6 years ago, they're like, I'm indoctrinating the kids. That's what they want to do, want to do propaganda for political reasons. What is that? Projection as usual.
Yep.
Because no, Democrats, liberals, progressives, generally speaking, they want to teach kids facts like science and math and history, et cetera. But what do the Republican right-wingers want to do? We're going to take political propaganda that is pro-NRA, pro-gun manufacturers. Eventually, we'll have all the different classes sold off to different companies. These are gun manufacturers, but we sell them off to car manufacturers and other places. Maybe the teachers can come in those NASCAR outfits.
No, it's amazing. I mean, just think about this for a second, right? I mean, even if you are in favor of gun rights, even if you are pro-gun all the way, you don't want any regulations, okay? Just think about the way that this bill is written. The lessons have to be approved by the NRA. Meaning that teachers have to provide lesson plans that are then approved by the NRA, which is funded by weapons manufacturers, which is why the NRA has a huge incentive to give guns to as many people as possible. I mean, that is straight up propaganda. You don't get more propaganda than that, okay? And it's amazing to me that they think that this kind of stuff will pass, and then they have the audacity to turn around and say, oh, the liberals are indoctrinating the students by trying to teach them science, when they're the ones who also want to teach creationism in schools, too.
Okay, now, at best, the NRA is a lobbying organization for gun manufacturers and some gun owners, right? They get more money from gun manufacturers, so that's why they skew in that direction. Okay, how about if we, but they do represent millions of people, they're real gun owners in the country. How about if we said the teachers have to take their lesson plans from another lobbying organization that also represents millions of Americans, labor unions, okay? So unions will now write the text for the history for the teachers, and they will have to say that to all the students and tell them how great unions are and how important they are to this country and how everybody should join a union.
I'm sure they'll
I'm sure the right wing would say that's no problem at all.
Of course.
Right?